What is up, guys? It's ya boy, Rick. You get a nerf and you get a nerf. Kackis here. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to support the channel and let me know what you think my next intro should be. That comment section is absolutely wild. Alright, today we are going to be discussing what I believe might become the new best Stasis subclass when the 30th anniversary update hits on December 7th. And that's because this update isn't just adding new content, it also includes a massive sandbox update, so big that Bungie has been unveiling it week after week, just parts of it each week, and last week we got a massive weekly update, which revealed that Bungie is completely overhauling the abilities environment within the game. Each ability will have its own separate cooldown, a tier list has been created for supers, and so much more. If you want to know all that info, of course guys, it's linked up above, but again, in this video we're going to be taking that information and applying it to the Stasis subclasses to talk about what might be the new meta. And so, let's start here, but just before we do, this video is sponsored by Super People, a brand new battle royale game featuring 12 classes of super soldiers, each with their own distinctive characteristics and traits, and strategy-driven combat using those traits to outsmart your opponents. Guys, they were nice enough to sponsor the channel, and all they want from you is to try their new game. You can head over to gg.net, linked in the description, which is going to connect with your Steam, and sign up for their closed beta test that starts on December 7th, and it's all completely free. What do you have to lose? Click the link in the description down below. Alright, so right now I think it's pretty clear that the Stasis Hunter, the Revenant, is dominant within PvP, mainly due to Shatterdive, and then in PvE, the Stasis Warlock is clearly dominant. In fact, I would go so far as to say that especially in high-level content like Nightfalls, raids, etc., a Stasis Warlock has reached the S+, if not the God tier. It is a go-to for so many strategies. It genuinely probably the best overall subclass for ad clearing. But could that change? Well, one thing that's definitely going to change is the supers. So here is the new super tier list. As you can see, tier 5, the fastest regeneration, we have Well of Radiance, and then tier 1, the slowest regeneration, we have Spectral Blades, Fist of Havoc, etc. Importantly, involving Stasis subclasses, both Glacial Quake for the Titan and Winter's Wrath for the Warlock are in tier 1, the slowest regenerating supers you can possibly have. And then Silence and Squall is actually in tier 4, the second fastest tier. Guys, genuinely, I was shocked to see this because Silence and Squall is one of the better supers in the game for PvP especially. Like, it can completely dominate a match. The fact that that tornado lasts so long and will track and follow enemies around is just savage. So that being so fast recharging is something that's going to matter. Now, it should be noted, however, that Bungie said specifically in terms of PvE that super uptime should be relatively unchanged from the live game, if not slightly higher. Basically saying that this tier list was mainly for PvP reasons. However, they're also kind of admitting that there will be some changes. So I would expect the higher tiers, the faster regenerating tiers, you are going to get that a little bit more often than you're getting them right now, and then the slower regenerating tiers like tier 1, you should expect to get those a little bit slower than you are right now. It also is important to note that more emphasis has been put on kills and taking and dealing damage to get your super back, so with a high enemy density, this should matter less, but I think it's safe to say that, hey, if you're a Revenant Hunter, you're potentially going to be casting your Silence and Squall more often than you are right now with this update. And if you're a Stasis Warlock, expect to be casting your super a little bit less often, and that is going to matter. But something else that is really going to matter, and frankly one of the main takeaways of this update, was a quote-unquote nerf to Shatterdive. However, Shatterdive itself actually didn't get touched. Rather, it was actually the Stasis crystals that got the nerf. Essentially, in PvP, a Stasis crystal will no longer freeze you solid, it will just slow nearby players, and the damage of the explosion has been reduced. However, in PvE, it's actually the opposite. The crystal detonation damage has increased by 60% in PvE, and the crystal detonation radius has increased by 2 meters in PvE. So blowing up crystals is actually even more effective in PvE, and that could really shift the meta, especially when it's combined with actually the fact that Shatterdive got buffed in PvE pretty substantially. Here are the patch notes. So obviously much less lethal in PvP due to the crystal change. However, in PvE, they're actually increasing the shatter damage versus frozen combatants by 100%. So literally doubling Shatterdive damage. Now obviously this is combined with, I would assume, even more damage due to the crystal detonation buff for PvE and a bigger radius due to those crystals in PvE. So Shatterdive was already pretty darn good in PvE, and that's what you're seeing in the background gameplay. It just got, well, this is not an exaggeration, quite literally more than twice as good as it is now. Doubling the damage, and you also have the crystal changes, so it is 150% better than it is right now. That's actually insane. So, I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. Right now, it's all about Stasis Warlocks in PvE, especially in high-level content. But could we start to see the meta shift more towards Stasis Hunters? Because another thing that's happening is actually a subtle nerf to Bleak Watcher, really the best part about using a Stasis Warlock in PvE. Now your recharge rate is always going to match the Glacial Grenade recharge rate, which is the slowest recharging one, so you're likely going to be able to use your Bleak Watcher less often. That's combined with the super tier list indicating you're going to be getting your super a little less often even in PvE, and then also you have a massive PvE buff to the Revenant Hunter with this right here, actually a buff to the Grim Harvest aspect. It's increasing the fragment slots from 2 to 3. Guys, this is actually insane because I love Grim Harvest. I have several Stasis build videos that are really darn good in PvE that all revolve around Grim Harvest. This is the easiest way to produce Stasis shards in the game. All you need to do is defeat slowed or frozen combatants, so any enemy affected by Stasis basically. So you are absolutely yeeting out Stasis shards, and that's combined with the new mod Elemental Shards. So when you collect a shard once every 5 seconds, it's going to count as collecting a matching elemental well, which enables just so many synergies. I did an entire video on how good elemental shards is. It can get you charged with light super easily. It can enable Font of Might to make your stasis weapons deal more damage, all of that stuff. Oh, how about we use a stasis weapon like this hand cannon with headstone so I can make my own stasis crystals just by getting precision shots that I can then Shatterdive, which is now going to do 100% more damage, or even more. Not to mention, you're going to be safer when doing all of this because Whisper of Chains is actually getting a PvE damage resistance buff from 25% all the way to 40%. So you're making those crystals, you're Shatterdiving, you're now going to have 40% damage resistance, and you're going to have room to put on Whisper of Chains because you just got another fragment slot from Grim Harvest. However, some of you may be saying, look, Shatterdiving is great in lower level content, but you're not going to be doing it in Grandmasters, and that's a fair point. But no one said you had to use Shatterdive. You can use Grim Harvest combined with Touch of Winter. And I actually could see people in PvP also moving just off of Shatterdive to Touch of Winter. It massively buffs your stasis grenades, and then just use the aspect that slows enemies when you dodge near them, combine that with your amazing super somehow being the second fastest regenerating tier, and I think Revenant Hunters are still going to have a part to play in the PvP meta. But again, we're mainly focusing on PvE here, and just Touch of Winter plus Grim Harvest, giving you those incredibly powerful stasis grenades getting you those shards all the time, which provide so many different benefits, and now allowing a whole other fragment to be equipped. Like, this is really, really coming together to be something powerful. Especially in the realm of supers, even in high-level content, in Grandmasters, being able to use your Silence and Squall is extremely effective for crowd control, for enabling all your subclass synergies, etc. If that tier list does have a noticeable effect on PvE, it's really going to matter because, again, you have fragments like the one that gives you more super energy when you kill frozen targets. Like, the combination of these things are insane and lets you get literally 20-30 second supers off. So guys, I would seriously expect Revenant Hunters to start to see substantially more play within PvE. They've honestly always been good, they've just been in the shadow of the Shadebinder Warlock, but maybe after the 30th, it will be their time to shine. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you do want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.